Hello everybody, my name is Atari Villarreal and today I will be discussing Magdalena Holler's Why Love is Difficult in a Second Language. This TED Talk was originally posted in October of 2024, so it's pretty recent. Magdalena based her studies in linguistics and she actually speaks 6 languages, her native tongue being Austrian German. Her husband speaks English. She's from Australia, and they communicate within the relationship in English. She talks about the challenges of speaking different languages and having different cultural backgrounds. I thought this was very interesting as someone who is bilingual, and I might not face these challenges within my relationship, but I definitely face these challenges talking to everyday people out on the street, in my job, at work, at school. Being here based in Vegas, there is a very big Hispanic community, but not everybody is, and not everybody speaks Spanish or the same type of Spanish, because there's different dialects and they vary from region to region and country, you know. Some of the challenges that Magdalena talks about are how it's difficult to communicate feelings in her relationship, because she's translating all of her emotions into English, which is not her native tongue, and she feels it more authentic to her in her native tongue, which is Austrian German. I think this resonates a lot with me, because I've noticed that when I'm mad or when I'm sad or when I'm upset, I tend to express myself better in Spanish than I do in English. So I thought that was really interesting. Another thing is that she mentioned was how humor does not translate. In a lot of languages, it doesn't. I have trouble explaining different things from language to language. Some things just don't translate very well, and it makes it less funny, or the jokes fall flat, and this is something that Magdalena talked about. The third thing that she talked about was actually a power imbalance, and how this actually ranges from your surroundings. So if, like, when she goes to visit her family, she has a the upper hand, because she's the one translating, she's the one telling her husband everything, and he kind of depends on her, while when they're with his family, she kind of depends on him, because English is his first language, he understands it better, he reads it better, that sort of thing. I thought this was really interesting, and like I said, it resonates to me as a bilingual speaker, and these are challenges that I face, maybe not on a day-to-day basis in my relationship, but definitely on a day-to-day basis, like I said, outside of work or in work or just every day out on the street. She actually came up with a couple solutions, which I thought was really interesting, because I didn't think that there was any solutions to this, or that this was a problem, but I see how it could definitely cause problems. The first solution being awareness, being aware that there's a power imbalance, that some things don't translate, that some things you feel more deeply in a different language, that you might not just be as funny in English as you are in your native language. Those are things to be aware of, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's very important to keep that in mind and not use that against the other person, especially in a relationship. The second solution that she came up with is called building a microculture. So when two people of two different backgrounds are together, you're forming a microculture within that family. I really like this solution, I guess you could call it, especially living in the US, in Vegas. Like I said, there's a very big Hispanic community, and in the US, like, it's just this big melting pot of all these different cultures. Americans aren't just Americans. You go everywhere, you have Mexican Americans, Chinese Americans, all these different kinds of Americans forming these microcultures that don't seem so micro anymore, especially not here. I think she did a great job at explaining all these difficulties and the solutions for them, especially as someone who faces these problems on a day-to-day basis. So thank you.